Hey, you're listening to the Friends in Austin podcast. I'm your host, Justin Talent, and every week I bring you the stories of the people of Austin. Thank you for listening.
So it was kind of one of those opportunities where I didn't see it for who the client was. I just saw it for the fact that it was like, oh, this could be something really big for my portfolio, and this is something I don't have any other big clients in terms of just like big projects right now. So like, let me just dive in, and I know how to manage a project. I know how to procure materials and do construction. And also, that's all just one little piece of building a studio, right? Like my whole background is in audio and video. So I was like, oh, it just makes sense. But when you say scary, it wasn't really a scary moment. It was more of a like settle in reality moment for me. Because after we had discussed everything, I was like, oh, like crap, I guess I'm really doing this now. There was no turning back.
Yeah.
And so it was really just, reaching out to people I knew who were, going to be super helpful, people who could get through the project with me. And yeah, I mean, just kind of delegating and being like the front runner for everything, and I think generally I wanted to be held accountable for anything that went wrong. So I didn't want to put that on anybody else. And I knew that, that 2.5 week timeline was going to be hard to meet. But if I just made sure like, okay, I know I'm going to be working 16 hours almost every single day, and some days like straight 20 hours. But, when we talked about reward, for me, the reward was going to be seeing what I had in my head and then bringing it to fruition, like being able to see the final product and be like, oh crap. And that didn't settle in until after we finished it. My buddy Christopher, who was with me on the job, he had to stop me because I was so in my head about all the details and little things that I kind of wanted to fix here and there. And he was like, Matt, like, I need you to just stop thinking, stand in this room right now and just like, look what we just did. And that was the moment I realized, what we had accomplished. And thinking about everybody who was part of that project and being like super, I don't know, like kind of emotional about it, mainly because, a lot of these people were like friends of mine. And
it's cool to get your friends involved in something so neat, like so big like that.
Right. And that was kind of a testament to, my support system and knowing that I had so many people in my life that were like willing to sacrifice a lot of time and be there to help us like accomplish this. So, yeah, I mean, it was a great project. It was awesome. Obviously, it's helped the business as a whole. But I think for me, it was that leap of faith I needed to just jump into it and say, I'm going to start working for myself. I'm going to have a company, and I want to create opportunities for like people around me who like believe in the mission and what I'm doing.
I wasn't happy in the company that I had been working for. I had left WP Engine. I was director of marketing for an agency. And just like found myself, again, using CBD, but didn't know how to bring it to market, was working for someone else. And we took a 3-day weekend, and my sister and I were like, okay, we're marketers, like we're content creators. Let's spin up a website. I know WordPress, like that's easy. Let me do this. Let me see if I can like make a website. Oh my gosh. We made a website, made a brand. I'm still using the same logo, same name, same everything from when we first launched. But that was really the impetus. It was like, I had this personal experience. I saw an opportunity to start to tell my story as I saw the market open up. We really ultimately decided to launch because it was just like, sure, why not? But again, I never was like, I'm going to be a business owner. Like I'm going to see an opportunity to be an entrepreneur. It was totally a side project thing. And then when they laid me off, I basically got plummeted into entrepreneurship full time. And we were very fortunate to be one of the first to market in Central Texas with a CBD brand. And so I think that our story and the way that we were marketing and actually building a brand versus just selling kind of like CBD, a commodity. I'm sure you drive around, the streets of Austin, you see CBD sold here. And then maybe you go inside and you don't know who it is and it's a no-name brand and they're just reselling a bunch of people's products. We really saw an opportunity to build a brand, create credibility, and really help educate the consumer. So that's our differentiator. Women-owned, local-owned, really wanted to create a safe space for people to be kind of curious. And so launched the brand, started out online first, then transitioned into retail because at the time in 2018, people were very confused and didn't know if CBD was going to make them high or what it was going to do to them.
For sure.
And so we just kind of in a roundabout way had all these opportunities where it was like, my parents own an insurance agency and they had a front office space that was not being used. And they let my sister and I literally set up, IKEA furniture and put our products on this shelf and get on the internet and be like, okay, we have a business, come see us. And I thank every first customer because I don't know. I mean, we knew what we were talking about, but the market was just so new that people didn't know their left from their right. And so we just kind of found ourselves in this very exciting spiral of just continuing to educate. And as people were, getting good results with cannabis and with CBD, and they were feeling that they would walk away from conversations with us being educated, then they were telling their friends and their friends were telling their friends. And we were just like, whoa.
I have a couple, I've got Salesforce Saturday, but I'm also involved with Pep Up Tech and Miravis. And at the time I was on the board for Texas Dreaming. And when they did the film, I had talked about all of those things. I had talked about everything that I'm involved with. They set me down for 4 hours and we had a conversation. But the film ended up only being about Salesforce Saturday. So I felt bad. I was like, all these other things that I'm a part of and that I work really hard to get visibility to didn't get mentioned in this film. So when I'm on stage with Mark, I need to figure out a way to give them a shout out and bring visibility to them. So right before we went on stage, I asked what they called handlers, the two people, Holly and Becky, that worked for Salesforce, who were preparing me for everything. I was like, is it okay if I invite Mark Benioff to our Texas Dreaming event in Austin? You do you, whatever you want to do. So I was like, okay. And he didn't know that was going to happen. So obviously I didn't clear it with him. And he got up there and he pulled me up on stage and he asked me a question. And then he was pretty much done with me. And immediately I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
No.
Y'all just put me through the ringer. And I grabbed his hand. I was like, no, you're not going. I was like, I'm thinking in my mind, and he's big, tall guy. And I grabbed his hand and I'm thinking, no, I'm not done. You got your say. It's my turn now. And so I was like, I grabbed his hand. I was like, thank you for this. I said, it's obviously Salesforce Saturday. Everybody knew about it. I said, but I just wanted to invite you to Austin, Texas in June. And I said the date so everybody could hear it as for Texas Dreaming so that you can meet my Miravis vets, my Pep Up Tech students. We'll all be there. We would love to have you. And he was just oh, well, I would love that. And so, and they said the whole,
you invited him on the spot?
On the spot. And no one knew I was going to do that. Parker Harris, his co-founder, you can see the video. He's rolling in his seat. And will.i.am was sitting behind me. will.i.am is laughing. They're all just can't believe I did this. And I didn't really think anything of it. I had a goal. And it was to bring visibility to everything that I was working hard on and that they were working hard on and didn't get mentioned in the film. So I felt, and nobody knew I was going to do it. My boyfriend at the time, when he saw me grab his hand, he was like, oh my God, what is she doing? He freaked out. The director who did my film was like, watch this. She's about to pull a Stephanie Herrera. He had faith in me more than my boyfriend at the time did. He was like, watch this. She's about, and so it worked out. And afterwards, his whole executive team came up to me and were just like, your new nickname is just, it's Charles of Steel, whatever you want, you get it. He's like, nobody has ever done that to Mark Benioff.
What got you into personal finance to begin with? Did you go to college and just major in finance?
Yeah, so I majored in finance, and you're going to laugh because today is at my son's school, it's superhero day, and he gets to dress up as his favorite superhero. And right now his favorite superhero is Spider-Man. I mean, why wouldn't it be? But what's funny is when you ask him, it's like, what do you want to be? And it's like, yeah, I want to be Spider-Man. Whenever I was young, I wanted to be businessman. I kid you not. I really wanted to be businessman. And I have no idea why, because my dad wasn't a businessman. My dad was the superintendent for a commercial painting company there in Dallas, but he had a briefcase and it was underneath his bed. And I used to just take that briefcase, I'd put papers in it. I would write words on it and I would carry it around and be like, I'm businessman. And so I had this mental model of what I was going to be when I grew up. And it was businessman. And then
what were businessman's powers?
I have probably nothing.
Just a briefcase full of paper.
Briefcase full of paper. Just, talk a lot, but convey very little meaning. I mean, right. And so, yeah, that's what my businessman powers are.
When you're doing something you love and you're passionate about, a lot of times if you're lucky, it'll turn into a business opportunity. And I have to say that with Austin Moms, that is absolutely the case. It was just something I was passionate about. I was a new mom at that. I will say early on, her name is Vanessa, who started it with me. we realized really early on that two moms' perspectives was not really going to give the full scope of being a mom in Austin. So we started looking for contributing writers to be able to share their perspective and their journey to motherhood. I think the very first time we did the open call, we had 2 people apply. So they were hired. And then, just continue to grow. We just continue to have more people that, weren't our friends and our family that were following us and knew we were kind of onto something, and just continue to do those open calls, bringing on new writers and fresh voices. And now it's funny, we have a team of 65 writers and photographers that are curating content, and they're in all different seasons and stages of motherhood, which is really what we wanted.
Hey, everyone. This is your host, Justin. I just wanted to thank everyone for listening and give those that are new to the podcast a reminder to please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast player. If you're on YouTube, please like the video, share it with a friend. That helps us out. Thank you.
He was like, I told him, I was like, my ultimate goal was to open my own. And then he just hit me and had this kind of moment where we really had this very almost difficult conversation. And I'm still so thankful for him for that day, which it was a very difficult situation because I was just kind of nestling into operating this restaurant again, just back into my comfort zone of just operating this restaurant. And he was like, look, do you want to open your own place or not? Because you haven't done anything to develop this new concept that we need. It's like, I can find somebody else to do this if they want to, but why are you doing this? You're not replacing yourself. You're not backfilling. You're not delegating. You're not doing any of these things that somebody needs to do to scale. I'm ready to do this restaurant with you, but you got to do it. What are you doing over here still? Why are you still working Monday night here instead of finding a manager to replace you? So because I need you to come knock on my door and say, look, I'm ready. Let's go look at locations. Let's go talk about business plans. Let's talk about fundraising. Let's talk about all that. And it was just this really kind of like, I was like, man, I don't know what to do. And he's like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? You've done it. We're doing it right now. Well, if you don't know, why don't we talk about it? And it was this very poignant moment, this tipping point that was very good. And then he went, and then boom, next thing we know, we kind of came up with this concept of Swift's Attic that evolved and found this location, and it just kind of became there. And again, we lumped together that somebody wrote about us, called us the Justice League, because it was my executive chef from Uchiko and Vespaio, or Uchi and Vespaio. There wasn't an Uchiko then, Uchi and Vespaio, and then pastry chef from Parkside, and the sous chef from Wink. And it was just like all these kind of big players in the Austin restaurant scene. We all came together to kind of put together this crazy restaurant, and got a lot of kind of buzz because of it.
What did you do to get your truck and like start that business? Like, you just save up some money, you find a truck, did you have to like renovate the inside of it to put all your kitchen supplies in there?
Yes.
It sounds like this is kind of a big process for people to start these food trucks, and I'm interested.
It really is, look, it's a business, right? So it's tough to start any business, and your business is on wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's even more difficult. There's many avenues to get there. So some people will have a food truck or trailer built out from the beginning. Those are people with too much money, time on their hands, and they'll probably go out of business. That's the truth. Then you got the people that look at some used one and this and that, and they start low, and you already know they're controlling cost. Okay, probably going to have a better chance again. And that's what we did. We looked for an old truck. It was an 86 Chevy, piece of crap, pulled out of like a mud field in Kansas, and just cleaned the crap out of it, renovated it, and, start serving just literally in a food park, and started serving. The first year is going to be atrocious. You'll probably, I would say, more than half go out of business in the first year.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be even more than that. And then the second year, the next 30%. You really got to stick it out. Again, you can stick it out for that moment where you just think you should just quit, and then it happens.
What is it that makes them fail? Is it they're just not getting enough customers? They're not getting their name out there. They're spending the wrong amounts of money on their margins aren't right. Just like
anything you could think of, right? Like just overspending, not providing the right food in the right environment to the right people. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal too. Maybe they're just not hustlers. They're just not go-getters going out there and getting the stuff they need to get. I saw many people fail for many reasons, to be honest with you. The main one is money. Just don't utilize the money right. They just overspend their money. Just don't know how to, they don't do, sometimes you need to do the work yourself. So hiring this person, hiring that, I would see people start off with food trucks. They're like, yeah, they got hired 3 people and this and that and this. What are you going to do? Just sit with your straw hat over here in a fold out chair and watch everybody work? Dude, what are you, crazy? Unless you're loaded or you're starting with some other brand or whatever, you can't do that. It's just not how, an 8 out of 10 food trucks, that's how they're starting, so you have to work. You've got to put in the work, you more than anybody.